outside the broken medical system to give you the knowledge, the community, and the strategies you need to become the hero of your own health story.
Your guide is a biohacking entrepreneur, a near-death survivor, and a cancer warrior navigating his own healing journey. Founder of BiohackingVille, Exodus Strong, and QE Strong. Your host, Rob René. This is BiohackingVille, where the medical system has failed us. One man is leading the rebellion to reclaim.
3 cardiologists told me I needed a pacemaker. 3. I said no to all 3 of them. Then I got cancer. Then my heart failed on the operating table. And the nurse who checked me in before they even got me into surgery looked at the screen and said, your heart rate's in the 20s. Like, how are you standing right now? They couldn't believe that I was still alive. I'm going to tell you how I got to that table. And more importantly, I'm going to tell you what I built on the other side. My name is Rob René. I'm a faith-based AI Wellness Futurist. And this is the BiohackingVille podcast, where ancient truth meets future tech. I spent 25 years in the corporate world. I hit every metric you're supposed to hit. I was really good. I went to multiple presidents' clubs, trips to South Africa, safaris, masters golf tournaments, the hardest ticket to get. I had corner offices, the works. And the whole time, I was slowly killing myself. For 20 years, 2 full decades, at least, I drank 4 to 5 drinks every single day without fail. Not just on the weekends, every single day. And I told myself what every functional alcoholic tells themselves. I'm fine. I'm not hurting anybody else. I've got it under control. I can stop at any time. I didn't have it under control. I was overweight. I was exhausted. My brain was fogging over. I was forgetful. And the medical system, the system I was trusting with my life, kept telling me the same thing. Oh, that's normal aging, Rob. Here's a prescription. Come back in 6 months. I was trained when I was young that you go to the doctor when you get sick, and the doctor gives you a pill, and that pill fixes your ill. That's was my belief in the medical system. But as you can tell, my body and my life wasn't normal. And the system, the system's designed to manage symptoms, not solve the underlying problem, right? And I didn't figure that out until the whole thing almost killed me. Pretty humbling. During that time, I had that problem, that real problem. And one night, I remember laying in bed with my beautiful wife. I said something that I never thought I'd say. I think I'm done drinking. She, for the love of her, she about fell out of the bed. she's such a wonderful woman. She'd wanted me to stop drinking forever, but she was obviously very patient with me. But I did. I quit that day, cold turkey, and I've never looked back. Very proud of that. When the pandemic hit, it was really the second truck in my life, and you'll hear that story. But the pandemic, something cracked in me during that period. I call it the second truck for a reason. The respect that it really changed my life in a very dramatic way. I remember trying to figure out ways I can keep my family safe, and I'd lost my job. I was a traveling salesperson, and I couldn't travel because of the pandemic. So I had time, first time in my life, to kind of research what's going on in the world. And I was trying to figure out health-wise how I'm going to keep my family safe. And I relied back on my training when I was a young athlete, how important nutrition was. That really helped me when I was a young runner. And so I started looking at nutrition. And one of the things I was looking at was vitamin D. And I saw this doctor recommending vitamin D. So I was doing research on that. And then I found out the medical establishment was suing him for billions of dollars with a B. And it really wasn't the medical establishment. It was the federal government, I believe. And so that really surprised me. And I was like, man, that doctor must be really bad, or maybe vitamin D is really bad. So I just started doing this research. I got this skill of research that I implore everybody to have. That's probably the most treasured skill set I have in my life now, is the ability to think for myself and not trust what the media tells me, not trust what the news tells me, not trust what the internet tells you, not trust what Chat GPT tells you. I don't trust anybody anymore with information, and I think for myself, and I do research myself, and that's really been a savior for me. And during this period, I was researching vitamin D. What's wrong with vitamin D? There's nothing wrong with vitamin D. Vitamin D is from the sun. It's 100% natural, right? And without vitamin D, we don't have oxygen because, we don't have the plants, et cetera. So it's a God-designed thing. So I checked the mock. Okay, vitamin D is not bad. So maybe the doctor is really bad. He must have lots of skeletons in his closet. So I dug into the doctor, and the doctor was a doctor that I couldn't see anything wrong with. He was a natural, holistic practitioner helping people with their health and just doing things natural. I'm like, I don't see anything wrong with him. So I'm like, then why? Why are they suing him for billions of dollars? And as I dug into that research, I found stuff you just can't unsee. Once you see the corruption and you see the influence of that corruption, and you see what happened over time with that corruption, it's stuff you can't forget. So I started questioning everything. And I started reading everything, like really reading, digging in. And in a parallel path, I wasn't just researching health. I was doing a lot of research on health. I picked up the Bible. I'd been a Christian most of my life, but I was a Christian in Sunday only, right? I would go to church and I would enjoy my Sunday service. And, preacher would talk and I would agree with what he said. And then, as soon as the door hit me in the butt, I didn't think about my faith until next Sunday, sitting in the pew again. So I started getting interested. So I said, is the Bible true, right? My brother is a mentor of mine, an amazing man of God. He taught me the TAP methodology. The textual criticism is the T. And so he's like, go check out, is it accurate? And so I did the textual criticism research of the Bible. Oh my gosh, it's amazingly accurate. And then you'd look at the archaeology, right? The A, and you look at the evidence in history about how the Bible was preserved, and the just incredible information about how accurate the Bible is through just archaeology, right? And you combine textual criticism with archaeology, it becomes really impactful. But then you add the P, prophecy. You look at what's in the Bible from a prophetic perspective, and you see how prophecy was fulfilled, specifically fulfilled, and how Jesus Christ fulfilled all the prophecies. It's just incredible when you do the research, right? Because I had never understood that. I never had. So it was really exciting to me, and I really developed a personal relationship with God. And now, instead of a religion, I have a relationship. I have a relationship with my Savior, and we're working really hard to let Him lead my life. But it's really the first time I actually read, the book from cover to cover. And what I found in there is, a book that's thousands of years old, started lining up with the science I was discovering in real time. So the medical research I was doing, I was also researching the Bible, right? And there's a lot of connection between health and science and the Bible. It's just fascinating to me. Things like molecular hydrogen, frequencies, light, and red light therapy, fasting, tons of information about that in the Bible. These weren't just new inventions, right? They're ancient principles that modern science is just now catching up to, especially in the frequency world. But the damage to me and my body had already been done. And then came cancer. The heart failure. This is crazy. I told you earlier about me. Started off the episode. 3 cardiologists told me I needed to get a pacemaker. I said, nah, I'm too young. I thought that was for old people. So I get cancer. Long story short, something you will hear through my story. It was the 3rd cardiologist, as he was looking at my cancer, said, we may need to do surgery on your cancer. And the only way we can do surgery on your cancer is if you go see a cardiologist. So I went and saw another cardiologist, and that cardiologist said I need a pacemaker. So I finally gave in and said, okay, I'm going to get a pacemaker. So I go on the weeks leading up to me getting the pacemaker. I had a couple of episodes that were very scary. I was sitting on the couch. I almost passed out, like sitting there doing nothing. And I almost passed out. I fainted. It was like, what the heck is going on? And then worse, I'm driving to my surgery to get my pacemaker in the car on the freeway, going 75 miles an hour. And I almost pass out. It was nuts. My heart was failing. So I get to the operating table, or I get to the actual, surgery area, and that's when the nurse took my pulse, and she's like, "What the heck?" She wanted to throw me down and start doing, chest compressions. It was like she was serious. She was like, and then multiple nurses came in and it caused a really big hassle. My wife's like, "What the heck's going on?" I was like, "I don't know, man. This is crazy." And make a long story short, they're like, "Okay, we need to get you in." And so I get into the operating table, and it's only supposed to be, maybe an hour, I think, of the whole operation from beginning to end. But as I'm laying on the operating table, yeah, my heart stopped. Wasn't beating. For a short number of seconds or minutes, I have no idea how long it was, I flatlined. If it wasn't from God orchestrating for me to be on that table with heart doctors around me, I would not be here talking to you today. I would have died for sure. If I was anywhere else in the world, I would have died, because the way that my heart did fail, if I didn't have a pacemaker installed, it would not have come back. And no matter what people did, if they would have shocked me, and no matter what they would have done, my heart would not have worked. So I had to be there. I had to be on that operating table. And the only reason I was on that operating table was because I got cancer. You can call it what you want. You can call that I did wrong things to my body, which I had, and I got cancer for whatever reason. But in my honest opinion, I believe God gave me cancer to save my life, because He has plans for me. And I had a number of times in my life where God does have plans for my life. It's incredible how He saved me time and time again. I've had 3 out of 4 near-death experiences. So I know He has a plan for me. And this episode took me to my knees, literally. Not just figuratively, but literally. Whereas I don't live for me anymore. I used to live for me. How can I improve my family? How can I have a better house? How can I have a better car? How can I live in the right neighborhood to help raise my children? Everything was about me. And now I don't care about anything. I don't care about my success. I don't care about money. I don't care about the physical things that I used to care about. I used to care about all sorts of things, gadgets and sports and the biggest TV you could ever get, right? It's a kind of a joke in my family how big of a TV I wanted. And I loved gaming. I loved doing all these things. And it was just like wasting life and wasting time and living for this guy, not living for anybody else. So now, probably a cliche, but I don't live for myself anymore. I live for Him, my relationship with God, and I need to make a difference. He saved me and saved me, so I know He has a plan. So going back to that heart thing, my poor wife and brother were in the waiting room, and they had no idea what was going on, but they knew there was something wrong because the surgery took like 4 hours instead of the hour. It might have only been 2 or 3, but it was way, way longer than it was supposed to be. And they were freaking out going, what's happening? But I did survive that day. I came back from the table. And I just, with that, I'm very clear in my mind that I'm not done yet. And over the next few weeks and few months, I know that God is not done with me. He wants me to accomplish something on this earth. And what you're listening to, I believe, is my path towards that. Everything I survived, the truck that hit me when I was 18 years old, literally 4x4 truck, almost ended my life. Piece of glass that fell on my chest and punctured my lungs and came 1/4 of an inch from my heart. Almost killed me. The drinking could have killed me. The cancer, almost. I'm winning that battle. The cancer could have killed me. It was all training. Every single bit of my life, I can look back now and I can say, thank you, Lord. Thank you for teaching me about nutrition when I was young and about how to train hard and how to push this physical body to its limit. I was incredibly tough as a runner, and he gave me a natural gift, but I had this desire and competitive nature that just, I had to win. I had to win. And that's another running joke in my family and my wife and my brothers. It's like, I'm just that's the way God wired me, as being a super competitive person. And I can look back at all these things that he taught me in my corporate career. He taught me how to communicate. He taught me how to put the pants on the same way that some established, rich, well put together celebrity, whatever you want to call them, they put their pants on the same way I put my pants on. So I can have a conversation with anybody in the world, and I'm not intimidated by that. And I'm not afraid to stand up in front of a crowd and communicate with people. That's a skill set that he trained me on. God trained me to do that. He trained me to have this conversation here with you. So on and so forth. So what did I build on the other side of this health issue? I built a system, not a product, not a supplement line, a system. I call it the light code system, and it has 4 pillars. This is all stuff that he's trained me on. I'm going to give you a real quick overview now. Over the next several weeks on this podcast and on all my social media, I'm going to take you on a deep dive into each one. But today I'm just going to give you a preview. The first one is light, right? It was designed to run on light, not just sunlight, specific wavelengths of red and near infrared light that penetrates your skin, reaches your cells, and recharges your mitochondria. That is incredible. It's called photobiomodulation, and it's the science behind it is staggering. There's thousands of peer-reviewed studies showing that these specific wavelengths reduce inflammation, they accelerate healing, they improve brain function, my brain fog that I used to have, they increase cellular energy. Fascinating. And here's what stopped me in my tracks when I first discovered this. The very first thing God created was light. Genesis 1:3, before food, before water, before anything else. Light. That's not a coincidence to me. Pillar 2 is frequency. Everything in the universe vibrates at a specific frequency. I had no idea about the human body and how the human body is so incredibly complex, and God designed this body so incredibly cool. This temple of ours is amazing. Our cells actually communicate with vibrations, and those vibrations give off a frequency. So frequencies are not strange. It's something I thought was weird. I thought it was woo-woo. I thought frequency was a strange word, but it's not mysticism. It's quantum physics. Your body is roughly 70% water. And your water is a liquid crystal that receives and transmits frequency information. As I was learning this stuff, I was like, what? I didn't believe any of it. I was a skeptic. I really was a skeptic. I did not believe. And now I'm a huge believer. There's legitimate research from IBM, from Stanford that show specific frequencies can influence biological systems. I'll go deep into this in a future episode because it's the most misunderstood, right, part of what we do, frequencies. But it's so powerful. The short version is, your cells need energy and information. They need both. Light provides the energy, and frequencies provide the instructions. So you combine the two, it's amazing. Pillar 3 is fuel. This is what you put into your body. Remember how the Lord taught me about nutrition when I was young? And specifically, I'm talking about molecular hydrogen, the smallest molecule in existence and one of the most powerful antioxidants ever studied. You combine that with 7 herbs that are mentioned specifically in the Bible, saffron, cumin, frankincense, myrrh, aloe. It's incredible. They have been validated by modern clinical research. God didn't just give us these plants by accident. They're there for provision. And now we have the science to explain why it works and why we put that combination specifically together. And pillar 4, the one that holds all the other 3 together, is faith. And in faith, I include the mind, body, spirit, because the mind, God designed our mind so powerful. This temple of ours, the mind, body, spirit, right? The mind is so powerful and your body is so complex. And then you have a spirit. You literally have a spirit. And you combine those 3 and it's incredible. I can give you the light. I can give you the frequencies. I can give you the fuel. But without faith, without a foundation that goes deeper than biology, you're just optimizing a machine. I'm not a machine. You're not a machine. You're a creation. You're made in the image of God. And the 4th pillar is where the science meets the sacred. That is the light code system. Light, frequencies, fuel, and faith. Every episode of this podcast is going to have something to do with those 4 pillars. I'm so passionate about it. I'm going to take you deep into one of those pillars, each one of those pillars. But now here's why I'm telling you all of this today. I'm building something. It's called BiohackingVille. Here's the little thing over my shoulder, BiohackingVille. It's not just another online community or a Facebook group. It's going to be a home for people like you, people who are done trusting the system that profits from keeping them sick, which it literally does. And I have proof that shows you a lot of that. We can talk about the Flexner report and how our healthcare system was taken over in the early 1900s. I've done all the research, but it's incredible what's happening. I'm so happy with what's going on with the MAHA movement, and we're finally flipped the food pyramid to the right direction, which is exciting. But people who believe that God designed the body to heal itself, because God did. He built this body to heal itself. You cut yourself on your finger, and guess what? It's going to start healing. That's the way God designed it. We just need to give it the information and give it the nutrients that it needs to do that. And if we can cooperate with that design with the best tools available, I love all things biohacking because it's just ways to optimize what God has already given us. So inside biohacking, well, we're going to go deep. We'll have spaces dedicated to each one of those pillars of the light code system. We'll even have a space for something I'm super passionate about because I've learned a ton in the last 14 months about integrative oncology. My cancer journey taught me that there's a massive gap between what the conventional system offers and what's actually available. In the United States, it's pathetic, to be honest. The standard of care in the United States for cancer sucks. And there's so much more available. There's so much information out there, and it's conflicting. And it's hard to understand, and everybody has a remedy. But cancer is super complex, right? Cancer isn't just one thing. Cancer is hundreds of things. And the reason why every person gets cancer is different. So you could have the exact same cancer, but the reason you got it and the reason I got it are different. And so how you treat that is not the same. I'm just fascinated. I could go into that, and I will. We'll go into that, and we'll go into it deep because I'm super passionate about it. I've learned a ton, right? I've learned a ton from amazing practitioners. It's just incredible. And so I want to explain all of that. And I want to share that. That's what God has done this to me and through me, is so I can help others. So we'll have a faith space where we can pray together. We can study together. We can grow together. without anyone telling us it's not allowed in a health community, right? Sorry, it's my community. I can do what I want. And I'm going to have a faith section that if you're interested in faith and you're going to be welcome there. You're welcome there anyway, but people who are not, people who love biohacking, they're going to have a blast in BiohackingVille because there's so many great things about red light therapy, about cold plunging, about everything biohacking. You're going to find it there. You're going to find great resources there. But if you also are interested in a faith discussion, we're going to have a section there that if you're interested, it has some awesome resources there as well. BiohackingVille is open its doors soon. And when it does, I want you to be one of the first people in the room. So here's how to make sure you don't miss it. I've got a newsletter called My Faith and Health. So you go to myfaithandhealth.com. Go right now. I'll put the link in the show notes. It's My Faith and Health. So simple, myfaithandhealth.com. Go there now. I'll put the link in the show notes, like I mentioned, and sign up for my newsletter. That's where I'm going to be announcing the launch. And you're going to see things fun and exciting and changing with the newsletter, because that's going to be an important part of the ecosystem that God is putting together through me. And that's where I'll share the deep stuff that doesn't fit in a social media post. Social media post, I can have a 60 seconds or 90 seconds to talk about something. Whereas, I literally just did a report on fasting that's 17 pages long about this incredible research that was done just recently. And that research just proves what the Bible has been doing for thousands of years, right? Of fasting, and how incredible that is to your healing journey. Great information. So I can't put that in a social media post that's 30, 60 seconds. So I've got BiohackingVille, and I've got a newsletter where we explain a lot of that. And that's where you're going to get first access, is when everything's going to go into BiohackingVille. So get to myfaithandhealth.com, get on the list. It's going to be fun, right? Here's what's coming on the podcast over the next several weeks. I'm recording a 5-part series that goes deep into each pillar I talked about. I'm going to tell you about the most powerful antioxidant in the universe, a molecule so small it crosses your blood-brain barrier, and where your doctors, they've probably never mentioned this molecule. I'm going to show you why most red light panels people are buying are basic, expensive Christmas lights. And they do nothing for you. It just frustrates the heck out of me. And then I'll tell you what actually works, even at the cellular level, and why. Super exciting. I'm going to open the file on top of the IBM scientists, right, who discovered that crystals can store human intention like a computer chip. Let me say that again. It's hard to understand. I didn't believe it. An IBM scientist literally has discovered that microscopic crystals, or crystals, they can hold and store human intention. Human intention. How do you store human intention? I didn't believe it, but I do now. And it's exciting, and you can store it on these little microscopic crystals, and then you can do amazing things with them, and we are. And then everyone went quiet, right? When you think about that, you're like, what? How is that? What? But it's so fun because it's true. And those are the things we're going to have a blast digging into. That episode's going to challenge everything you think you knew about how the body receives information. I didn't believe it, didn't understand it, and now I'm blown away, and I'm learning more and more every day about this body, how our energy system works, how it communicates with others, how our systems can be interconnected. It's incredible. The whole quantum word and the quantum world is something you can't even measure a lot of times. There's some things we can measure, but most of it you can't even measure. So how do you figure out something that's unmeasurable? God can figure it out. He's the one who designed all of this, but we still don't understand it all, which is fascinating. I'm going to tell you the full uncut version of my story. The operating table, right? The cancer, I have lots to talk about related to that. I'm winning that battle. I'm super excited about where I am on that journey. Very scary journey, by the way. Last year was the hardest year of my life, bar none. Brought me to my knees, like to my knees. Health was broken. My body was broken. My spirit was broken. My body was broken. My finances are obliterated, gone. But I don't care about any of that. The moment I realized God gave me cancer to save my life. Amazing. Thank you, Lord. And I'm going to make the best of it. And I'm going to go through all of my story. And that's what's ahead. And I want you here for every episode. If this episode meant something to you, if any part of what I said today resonated with you, and then where you are right now, because I know there's lots of people that are like me and were like me, I want you to do two things. First, share this with one person who needs to hear it. Every one of you knows somebody who's been affected by cancer. Every single one of you, for sure. I figured out a way to win that battle. And I'm excited to help people with that battle. I'm not saying I can do it, it's all God, but I have resources and I have places to go and people to see and things to do to help you through that journey. And it's not just cancer, it's like all health issues, right? We're going to learn how to take care of this temple. And then I have an amazing network of holistic practitioners. And I've been interviewing holistic practitioners for over a year. And I have a network of them all across the world now. I literally spend a few days every month in Mexico getting advanced treatments. And I want to share that with the world. I want to share these resources and amazing people who are healing people and helping people. The Lord heals people. The humans don't. The Lord does. But humans can help you get there. So just one, and you know who they are. Just one person, send it to them. Second, go to myfaithandhealth.com and get on the list. Myfaithandhealth.com. Just subscribe to the newsletter. You'll be on the list. And when BiohackingVille opens up, I want you in the room. I'm Rob René, faith-based AI Wellness Futurist. This is the BiohackingVille podcast. I'll see you next week. Believe, biohack, become. Remember, if you have air in your lungs today, God has a plan for your life. Believe, biohack, become.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Join the community and get the show notes at biohackingville.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at BiohackingVille. Until next time, believe, biohack, become.